We have before us House File 1589. All right, and I will leave it to you, Representative Bennett, to make the motion to re-refer House File 1589 to Education Finance Committee.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Do I do that first before we work on the amendment or add the amendment?
There is an amendment. Okay.
Yes.
I apologize that. So we'll bring the bill before us, and you have an amendment to offer, the A1 amendment.
I do, Madam Chair. Thank you. The A1 amendment simply clarifies that when it's, this applies to not only unlicensed staff and paraprofessionals and so on, but also a teacher with a Tier 1 or Tier 2 license.
Okay. All right. Any questions on the A1 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the A1 amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. You have an amended bill. Please introduce yourself officially and proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And do I need to move the bill now, or no, we're good to go?
So say the question again.
Oh,
Yeah, so move.
All right. Yeah. So we have right now we have House File the 1589. Is that the right number?
before us. Okay.
1589 before us
Thank you.
as amended to be re-referred to Education Finance.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And to save some time, can I just ask my testifiers to come up now while I'm talking?
That sounds
We'll
great.
Do
Thank
two
you.
things
Thank
at
you.
once, so, go ahead. All right, thank you. Members, House File 1589 addresses an issue where special ed well, we all know special ed teachers are at a premium and very difficult to come by. This just helps our schools recruit teachers, special ed teachers, from paraprofessionals, non-licensed staff, Tier 1 and Tier 2, helping them get into our teacher prep programs and become licensed teachers so that we can get more licensed special ed teachers. This is very similar to what is called the Grow Your Own program, which we have heard before. And actually, quite interesting, we'll hear about this, I think, but the Grow Your Own program actually came from rural Minnesota and started with some of the people we're going to talk to, or will talk to us here. And the word grow came from the rural farmland area, so I thought that was kind of an interesting background. But with the Grow Your Own program, it has really become unusable for our rural schools. It started out to be usable, but it gradually became where it was being ratcheted up for targeting minority populations, which is really good, but it also ruled out rural schools being able to grow their own professionals and licensed teachers. So you know what, I'm going to just be quiet right now because I think my testifiers will do a much better job explaining this than I am. So, Madam Chair, if we could move on to our testifier here, Dan.
All right. Please identify yourself and proceed.
I am Dan Armagas. I'm the Executive Director for the Southern Minnesota Education Consortium. I'm here today to support House File 1589, the Special Education Teacher Pipeline Program on behalf of MSBA, MREA, MESA, and the MACE organizations. This committee is aware of the teacher shortages that our districts are currently facing. Finding licensed staff is becoming more and more difficult. This is nothing new in the field of special education. We have been facing this challenge for years. SMEC formed in part due to the challenges of finding properly licensed staff. In 2008, we created our own Grow Your Own program, sending teachers back to school to become licensed in the areas of need. Over the next few years, SMEC went from contracting most of our specialists to being able to sell services, and from sending students out of our co-op to offering a full continuum of services. Sending staff back to school is a cornerstone of who we are as a cooperative. It has helped with teacher retention and recruitment. We have always made sure we had staff in the pipeline attending school to become licensed teachers. Currently, 47% of our Tier 3 and 4 special education teachers were sent back to school by SMEC. Our partners at Region 10 started offering tuition support in 2017, and we have sent back 79 teachers to become licensed. Federal funds can no longer be used for this purpose except for fully licensed special education teachers. Currently, 34% of the special education teaching staff of SMEC are Tier 1 and Tier 2 license. We would like to offer tuition supports to these teachers but can't due to the limits of the use of our funding. This has strangled our flow of qualified staff and will continue to have significant effects on our students. This is where House File 1589 can help. It fills the gaps in funding and will bring new teachers into the profession. The state's current and past Grow Your Own grants have not been accessible to the rural districts who are also struggling to find teachers. Ms. Bednar is a teacher at Lisle Public Schools, a district where currently 75% of the district's special education staff are Tier 1 licensed. She is an excellent example where tuition support could have benefited the teachers, the students, and the district as a whole.
Hi, thank you for having me. As he said, my name is Bree Bednar. I teach high school special education at Lisle
And
High School.
could you just pause a moment? I do need to recognize you before you proceed.
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, if you could start again with your name and then where you represent.
Absolutely. So I am Bree Bednar, and I am the high school special education teacher at Lisle High School.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. In my 20s, I taught middle school language arts for 4 years. Because at that time I taught at a private school, I wasn't required to carry a teaching license. When I left that job, it was with a heavy heart. I loved teaching, but recently divorced, I was pushed to seek a higher paying position. I spent the following 15 years serving my community through nonprofit organizations, most of which were in executive leadership roles. My desire to help others overcome barriers and see them succeed is what drives me. This desire and my lived experience as a person with disabilities ultimately drove me to find my way back to teaching, specifically special education. As I was making the decision to undertake this major career shift, an important factor was my district's ability to cover my costs for attaining the teacher licensure. Unfortunately, shortly after school started and I'd already fallen in love with each of my students, I received difficult news. Recent interpretation of the law prohibits my district from using federal funding to send Tier 1 teachers back to school for this licensure. This news has created considerable hardship in the plans I had for a lifelong career back in teaching. In following my passion, I took more than a $14,000 a year pay cut to take this teaching role, but I did it with excitement and with the understanding that my educational costs would be covered and I would move up the pay scale over the next several years. Not only did I take a considerable pay cut, but now I'm being asked to pay an additional $11,000+ to complete the education needed to ensure I will have valid licensing credentials when my Tier 1 license expires. The young people I have come to adore are the ones that will ultimately suffer if I am unable to find a sustainable solution. Since the beginning of last school year, they've already had 4 different SPED teachers in the position I have filled. Understandably, their trust in me hasn't come easily. They've asked me countless times if I'll still be there next year. My students deserve consistency, as well as a highly trained educator. I want to be this for them. For Minnesota's future, the cost of not having qualified educators in special education is astronomically higher than the tuition I need to move forward with securing my state-mandated credentials. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go to public testimony now. And I have up Shayna Morse. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Shayna Morse, Assistant Director of Government Relations at the Department of Education. First, I'd like to start off by thanking Representative Bennett for bringing forward this bill. This is an important topic impacting students, educators, school leaders, and it requires a legislative solution this session. As you've heard, last fall, the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs, or OSEP, released a memo clarifying states' obligations regarding the requirements for personnel qualifications under the Individual Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. This clarification from the feds impacts approximately 800 Tier 1 and Tier 2 teachers in Minnesota who need a path to progress towards full certification in order for us to maintain compliance in the state, which is why the amendment is particularly helpful, and we appreciate that. These roles that the individuals play are critical for the educational success of students with disabilities. They serve as a resource, an advocate, and a mentor. They help students with disabilities achieve their full educational potential. And so just as we know that those roles are important, we also know the struggle that districts and schools are facing related to staffing. Without action to support these 800 Tier 1 and Tier 2 teachers to move towards full certification, our districts could face even more difficult staffing challenges. And more importantly, students with disabilities could lose access to the services that they need to help them succeed. And I recognize the committee that we're in here in policy, but this policy is an issue I just want to take a second to say that does need a budget solution. The governor's budget has a two-pronged approach to increasing access to teacher prep programs and to mentoring supports. It builds off the existing Grow Your Own program focused on teacher diversity by adding a prong dedicated specifically to addressing teacher shortage areas, specifically also emphasizing the shortage of special education teachers. Complementary to that is increasing access to increasing access to licensure programs is a mentoring support program, which is also included in the governor's budget to ensure that there are adequate supports for those individuals. Again, we appreciate the author bringing this forward and the amendment that came with it and look forward to continuing to collaborate towards a solution on behalf of these special education teachers and the students they serve.
Thank you. Thank you. Laura Mogelson? Here we are. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And we will not miss Mr. Shaver for public testimony this time. Thank you. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Laura Mogelson, and I am here from the Minnesota Association of Colleges of Teacher Education. Thank you, Representative Bennett, for authoring this bill and bringing it forward. MACD is highly supportive of House File 1589. As it's been shown by Pelsby's supply and demand report from this year, the licensure areas filled with the highest proportion of teachers holding a Tier 1 and Tier 2 license or out-of-field permission are in special education. And as the previous testifier shared, we do have over 800 Tier 1 and Tier 2 teachers, and as Representative Joachim has stated earlier, over half of our special education teachers are at Tier 1 and Tier 2. And so this policy and funding is clearly needed in our state to help prepare and support the Tier 1 and Tier 2 teachers, as well as the many, many paraprofessionals that are in our districts. Thank you. To receive a high-quality teacher preparation and earn a Tier 3 special ed license. MACD is very excited to collaborate around solving this problem. We've actually been talking with our colleagues at Pelsby about this for quite some time. The memo that came from the Office of Special Education Programs, which the previous testifier also talked about, is of great concern to us, and we feel like it's very important to bring our state into full compliance with IDEA rules, and this legislation will provide the needed support to help move our Tier 1, Tier 2 teachers to the Tier 3 license. We also are very supportive of the fact that it will reach all of Minnesota, not just the metro area, and have many, many members who are willing to provide programs and access. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, our last public testifier, Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you.
Chair Pryor, members of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Matt Shaver. I'm Policy Director at EdAllies. We're a statewide education advocacy nonprofit working to ensure every Minnesota student has access to a rigorous and engaging education. I'm here to testify in support of House File 1589 as amended. I want to thank Representative Bennett for taking our feedback and thoughtfully amending the bill to make it even better. There's a very real shortage of special education teachers statewide with unique local and regional and even within district challenges, and access to effective educators for students with disabilities is both a moral and legal imperative. House File 1589 would create another means by which the state can address these shortages by creating resources for districts to partner with board-approved prep programs to increase the supply of effective educators to support students. We're strongly in favor of making state funds available to educators who are interested in enrolling in board-approved teacher prep, whether they are paraprofessionals, district staff, or Tier 1 and Tier 2 teachers who choose that path for additional training. This is a grant program that has the potential to do a lot of good for students and our educator workforce. Thank you, Representative Bennett, for your leadership on House File 1589. Thank you, Chair Pryor, for the opportunity to testify. Thank you all for your public service to our state.
Thank you. All right, that's it for public testimony right now. We can turn to member discussion. Yes, Chair Yukin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question. Actually, first, thank you, Representative Bennett, for bringing this forward. This is a really important bill. Thank you for the amendments. One thing, and I wanted to thank Ms. Mogelson too from coming forward, because I've been speaking with MACD, because one of the concerns I have is making sure that there are programs out there in Minnesota for our sped teachers to take while they're still working, so they're not leaving the classroom, and that are accessible and affordable. And it sounds like we have some really great Minnesota-based folks that can do that. So I, was wondering if you're considering, as this bill moves forward to finance, to put something in here that they have to collaborate with PELSB to figure out what those programs are. We do that with the Grow Your Own program. And then also, I would like to see a focus on those Tier 1 and 2 teachers that are currently in the classroom, moving to the Tier 3 with this money, because that's the immediate problem. And then moving into more of getting more teachers into the classroom for SPED as well. And I had to laugh. I've gotten like 3 texts that I could have subbed today because I forgot to block off this month in the classroom. So yes, I know how important that is as a SPED para to get this help into the classroom. But if you could look at those 2 things, and we can talk offline too, but
Any
thank you for
comment,
that.
Representative Bennett?
Thanks, Madam Chair, and absolutely very open to that. We need to make this bill the best we can so it actually works.
Thank you. I've not seen any other member discussion at this point. Lots of agreement that this is an important bill that we're bringing forward to right now, and that fortunately we'll be moving it to Ed Finance and talk about how to really make this happen in our state right now, because it's time. We have to do it. So closing comments, Representative Bennett, and if I can just throw out a reminder, we're going to still do a vehicle bill right after this. We'll just take like 30 seconds. Closing comments, Representative Bennett.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks so much for hearing this bill. And just to reiterate, I know SMEC in general has 34% of their special education teachers right now at Tier 1, Tier 2, and we all agree that we want to see those people be able to get to the proper classrooms, get licensed, and that's so much needed in our special ed in particular. I also want to emphasize that this bill will have metro and rural. It has to be equally divided between, so this is going to affect our schools and help schools in our entire state. And but especially in rural, who right now those schools cannot access the current Grow Your Own program due to some stipulations. So thank you so much, appreciate the hearing, and we'll look forward to more discussion, hopefully in Ed Finance.
Thank you, Representative Bennett. With that, we will renew the motion to re-refer House File 1589 as amended to Education Finance Committee. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Education Finance.